Well, hello modelers. Welcome back to the bench. So, um, not a not as much progress on the Enterprise model kit has happened that I wanted. Um, to be honest, I had several mistakes with this kit. Um, right now, the only real amount of progress that I can say I've accomplished is what you see in front of you, which is I have the um, BC deck painted up, and all the lights are wired up, and this is all put in. I have the lower planetary sensor dome installed, good to go there, and everything's wired up. So basically, what I did was, um, actually I'll show you. Have to excuse the wiring mess. So as you can see, it's kind of a mess of wires right now, but that's kind of the best I could do. So I've got wires, lights everywhere. What I did for the thrusters on the top and bottom was pretty simple. I just took some fiber optics and I put them into a light tube with a yellow LED, and I think it's some wires out there. And that fiber optic is running through, and I took the end of the fiber optics and I ballooned them and I drilled the holes out for them. Well, you can see that right there. And I installed them in and tied them into the light tubes, both top and bottom. I did the same effect for the BC deck for the rear floodlights. Yeah, it's hard to see. The rear floodlights that are right back here, I drilled 2 holes and I ran fiber optics through into a light tube. And same thing for the lower planetary sensor dome for the 3 lights in the back. Oh, was that come out? No. Pretty happy with the lighting. It came out not too bad. I did change the lighting just a little bit. I added resistors, 470 ohm resistors to the LED strip tape. And I know they're already pre-resisted, so you don't have to put resistors on them, but I wanted to tone down the light a little bit. It was way too bright, and it was not in scale, so I wanted to tone it down, so I added in the 470 resistors to each and every one of the strip lights, as well as I added 2 of the 470 resistors to the nav lights as well. And also for the impulse engines and the impulse deck crystal. And then I'm running at 9 volts. So it's still a little bright, but it's not as bright as you would have if you just ran the lights without resistors. So pretty happy with that. I'm pretty much done with the saucer as far as assembly goes and everything. I'm actually ready to seal this thing up. I don't think... Yeah, so I'll do an actual light test on this thing once I get it. Well, actually, you know what? Let me rephrase that. I'll do a light test on it now. With my dumb luck, I'll have a problem. Oh, and their issue I ran into was I had to take, as much as I hated to do this, I wired up both saucer sections, and then I ended up having to tear out all the wires and everything except for the light tubes and the strip tape. Everything else had to go. All the wires had to be disconnected. I had to pull out the nav lights because I put the wrong ones in. I put clear in, and I really wanted the colored in there for static purposes. So I ended up having to rip it out. The other main reason why I ended up ripping it out too was I was trying to bring down the light intensity with multiple resistors, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if they just didn't like each other, And what ended up happening was when I turned it all on, it's like I was running, for example, I was running 2 resistors per strip, and it was about where I wanted it. But when I turned it on, I was getting, some of these lights were cutting out and they were flickering, and nothing I did could change it. So I kind of got fed up and I just pulled everything out, and I just rewired a single 470 resistor to each and every strip and rewired everything. And plus the wire management was pretty bad, so I just went ahead and rewired everything and did some wire management, and it worked out pretty good. The other thing, a little tip that I kind of ran across, when you're doing the windows for the recreation deck right here and back, I was having my reservations on putting canopy glue in there because I didn't think it would be it was too big of an opening, and I would have issues with the canopy glue going in. So I did it, I kind of cheated. I took my hot glue gun and I just doused the BC deck with hot glue over all the windows, which you can kind of see. Hard to see it, but yeah, you can see the glue like right in there. And it gives a pretty good effect. I mean, let me see if I get a flashlight on this. See if you can tell. Okay, there it is. So you can kind of see it's given a really nice diffused light to the windows, and I use hot glue, and I just poured the hot glue in and it worked just fine. So that's another trick, is to use the hot glue. But let me fire up the lights on the lower saucer section here real fast, and I'll kind of show you what it looks like. So power source on. Alright, so there's my lighting. Now that is severely brought down in comparison to what a regular LED looks like. Not as bright. It's bright, but it's in scale bright. You don't want spotlights inside your room, so did that, and then you can kind of see lights there, and how well you can see, there's the back. So came up pretty good there. I'll fire up the BC deck and I'll show what that looks like. And plus, I've been working on this really a lot lately because I've been very busy and I haven't had any time between work and everything. It's just been chaos, so I kind of work on this thing as I can. Alright. I'll turn the light out so it gets a little darker. Alright, so there's the spotlight in the BC deck. There's the side lights. And I also used the hot glue in there as well to form a window, so you didn't see inside all the wiring. And there's my crystal. And you can kind of see how the lighting is very diffused coming through those windows around the BC deck, and I think it came out really good. I'm very happy with that. And also there's the 2 floodlights on the docking port for the travel pods. And I don't know if you can see the thrusters or not. Oh yeah, there they are. There's the thrusters lighting up. So overall, not too bad. Yeah, where am I hooked up? There we are. So, like I said, overall not bad. I'm pretty much happy with the way it is right now. It's been through a lot of trial and error, but everything's hooked up. nav lights, interior lights, everything's good to go. So the only thing left to do at this point is actually to put these two halves together. And this is the scary part because I'm afraid once I seal this thing up, I'm going to have problems. But, you know, I've tested it a gazillion times. Everything looks good. I think it'll work. I'll have to say this kit, though, is just... This is not an easy kit to work with. If you're not even somewhat of a experienced modeler, this is not the kind of kit you want to start off trying to light up, because it is very, very challenging. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it for a beginner, that's for sure. But anyway, so that's pretty much about it. One more thing I want to show off. I don't know if I showed this in my last video or not, but the deflector dish is done. And I don't know, I'll show you the side there. That's a light box for the blue LED to light the front up, and I will show you what that looks like. And again, this will be at 9 volts. This whole thing will be run at 9 volts. 12 is just a little too bright. And I hope to finish this thing really soon, because I already have in mind what my next build is going to be, and I've got some models I want to show off before I close out. There we go. I'll turn the light out so you get a better view. Okay. So, I don't know how well... Okay. The camera is, of course, way overexposing this. What you're seeing on the camera is nowhere near what I'm looking at right now. You're looking at a spotlight on the camera. It's not that at all. It's way overexposed. There is a definite definition of blue light around the outer edge and a little hot spot right in the middle, which is what the Enterprise is known for. So I accomplished my objective. I got the hot spot. I got the blue glow. It's not overpowering. It's not a flashlight. So I'm really upset that the camera is not showing that, because it turned out really good. And of course the camera's going to overexpose it, and you're not going to see what it actually looks like. But anyway, okay, I'll blend you guys for a second. Sorry about that. Anyway, that's pretty much about it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this thing glued and the two halves put together so it can set up overnight and dry, because I want this thing to really dry well, so I can sand down the seams around the outer edge and get that done, and then I can start working on the body, which this is the final coat on the body that I used. Now, I did not use model paints on this kit. I actually used Rust-Oleum rattle cans. I used a Rust-Oleum primer, and I used a Rust-Oleum white paint. And honestly, I like the white paint from the Rust-Oleum brand, because the one nice thing about that is if you get some dirt, which you're going to do it inevitably because it's a white model, but if you get a little bit of dirt around on the paint, you can take a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and a little rag, and you could just lightly go over the whole surface with the alcohol pad, or the alcohol on the rag, and it will clean up the surface, and it'll get rid of that some of that dirt and actually clean it up without harming the paint. You try that with the Tamiya paint, yeah, it's not going to pan out real well. It's going to look bad, and it's going to take and destroy the paint. So, luckily for me, I can use the alcohol, which I'll have to give this a good wipe down when it's all together and done, and then I'll give it a gloss coat for the decals. But anyway, that's kind of about it. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video now and get this thing glued up, and I will probably come back tomorrow once this thing is, well, I'll come back in a day or two when this thing has been completely sealed and I've got everything sanded down around the outer edge with all the light leaks sealed and everything. And I'll show you what the lighting effects, how they came out and everything at that point. So, okay, what will be just a couple minutes for you guys will be probably about a day or two for me. So stay tuned, and I'll be back in a bit.
Okay guys, I'm back, and I have successfully brought the two halves of the saucer together, and as you can see, I used almost every clamp I have. Hold on a second. Let me put a glove on. I don't want to get my handprints all over the white paint. I really hate working with white paint. It's just notorious for getting so dirty so fast. But like I said earlier, at least with this kind of paint, it's easy to wipe off with alcohol. So anyway, okay. So you're probably asking yourself, what is with this tissue paper on here? This is to prevent a problem. I have seen this happen before with some other modelers on their Enterprise builds, preferably the 1/350 scale. When you put these clamps on, the pressure of the clamp makes an indentation in the paint that is the same shape as the clamp pad. And I've seen that happen before, and it was didn't look good. So I came up with an idea that I used on my Reliant build, where I just took some tissue paper and I just took a piece of it and I wrapped it around a couple times to make it kind of thick, and then I just wrap it around the saucer and then put the clamp on. That helps alleviate that from happening. It did not happen on my Reliant build, so I called it a success. I cannot talk. I call it a success. Excuse me. So I repeated that here, and it should not give me an issue with any impressions. And plus, this will not stick to the paint. This will come right off. And as you can see, I've got a lot of clamps on this. It's because, very simply put, the way this model is, you want to clamp every ½ inch to inch, I would say safely ½ inch apart from each clamp. That equalizes the pressure going all the way around to give the saucer a really good seal to the lower half, or upper half, however you're looking at it. So that's pretty much it. I'm done tonight. I can't do anything more. This is set. It just has to sit overnight. As you can see there, I got my wires, all my wires coming out. Looks pretty good. I'm actually pretty happy with this. Be happy if all my clamps were in the right place though. This one, there we go. Okay. Oh, this is very cumbersome. I'll do that. So what I'm going to do tomorrow when I get up, I'll go ahead and take all the clamps off, see where my light leaks are at. I know I got a ton of them all around the perimeter of the saucer because the connection is just not all that great. There's a lot of gappage going on, but that's an easy fix. Put some filler in there, sand it down, and then I'll mask everything off and give it a quick repaint, and that will seal that, and I'll be good to go. And all I gotta do is give it a gloss coat for decals. So the saucer's done. Now what I did was to hold the saucer up to clamp it like this. It's hard to do when it's just on your workbench. Is I have this container here. This is what all my clamps that I keep my clamps in. All I did was I set it with the opening up, and I put a white towel. Use white towels because even a colored towel could possibly stain the paint. So I put a white towel over that, and then I just simply put this right on top, like so, and then I just rotate it this way, excuse me, as I'm clamping it, and that really holds it well. And you can get a better look at my paint job from my BC deck. This was all just freehand painted up in here. I used a pencil to kind of outline where my hey guys, sorry about that video being cut off so short right there in mid-sentence. I was trying to do some editing and I screwed it up, so I ended up cutting off right there as I was speaking. Really didn't miss much at the end of that video. As you saw in the video, I had the saucer clamped up and gluing, and it just sat overnight until I opened up or took the clamps off the next day. So yeah, really not much there. This video is being put out now, but it's quite old. I'm actually backlogged on about 4 videos for this build that I have not posted yet. So I'm actually much further along at this point. I just got a lot of videos to put out, so I've got, quite a few more. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank my new subscribers and all my other subscribers and all my viewers. I appreciate the comments and the views and everything. So yeah, that's about it. Until next time, everyone take care and have a good night. Bye.